When we speak about organized crime in Kenya, many criminals have come into the world of organized crime and have been showered with a lot of praises day in, day out. But I have to ask you a question. Do you know who is the godfather of organized crime in Kenya? Today I bring to you the story of the godfather of organized crime in the country. He is regarded as Kenya's most generous gangster. His name is Nicholas Mwea wa Kinyonga. He was said to be Kenya's Robin Hood. The rich dreaded him. Some people admired him, and the police wanted him dead. Long before the likes of Washosho, Wanogu, and Rasta came on the scene, there was Nicholas Mwea wa Kinyonga, even before the likes of John Kiriamiti. His escapades in the year 1970s, the golden years for the country's bank robbers, provided fodder for wild tales. He was known for three things: a loud mouth, an appetite for what was not his, and the ability to slither out of police dragnets. He had become something of a legend, with people spinning yarns about his escapades. At the end of it all, it was hard to winnow the truth from the lies. But one thing was clear: he was a dangerous outlaw. Robin Hood is a legendary figure, an outlaw said to have robbed the rich and shared the loot with the poor. A highly skilled archer, according to English folklore, he was apparently angered by the inequalities in his society and decided to break the law to seal that wage. The same was said of Wakenyonga, whose name literally means the one who strangles. Accused by police of masterminding a string of bank robberies in Nairobi, at least one murder and other violent crimes, Wakenyonga was one of the most wanted robbers of his day. Only one other robber matched this tongue: a man from Mukoroini named Danson Gashuhi. Gashuhi and Wakenyonga had been targets of Kenyan's famed crime buster Patrick Shaw, who ruled with his Volvo and Browning pistol as investigator, judge, and executioner. Gashuhi died in 1977 when he was reportedly hit with a stone while being chased down the streets. Among the crimes police pinned on Wakenyonga were the theft of 330,000 from a bank in Thika and another 200,000 stolen in Nairobi. Those were quite large amounts in those days. He also murdered an executive of Total Oil Company while trying to steal his car. The man was shot when he attempted to resist the theft. Now, Wakenyonga may have been Robin Hood reincarnate, but he kept some of the loot for himself. He invested the stolen money well, including building rental houses in Kangemi where he lived. It was ironic that although a thief, Wakenyonga wanted his houses safe and so installed security lights and all around the property. He lived by the gun and seemed to know he would die by the gun. He had even dug a 30-foot deep grave at his home that was 24 feet more than the recommended depth of the grave, the graves of the peace-loving citizens. He wanted to be buried 30 feet under, not 24. On the night of Monday, June 26, 1978, Wakenyonga went to his favorite watering hole. Nyakiambi Lodge nightclub in Kangemi was one of those places where Nairobi's low class went for booze and women. He liked the pub because he could easily mingle with the patrons and fade in the cigarette smoke and din. Legend has it that after a long day stealing, he would spend the night entertaining friends and strangers with free drinks. He would place a loaded gun on the counter as he drank. After one drink too many, his loud mouth got the better of him and he went into overdrive. He was probably drunk, but was Wakenyonga. He said, "Let those CID men come and I will shoot them all," he boasted. According to a report in the Standard on June 28th, year 1978, he was overheard by a police informer who called the law enforcement officers to tell them that their long-sought quarry was at the lodge. Police swung into action and surrounded the lodge. Some in plain clothes entered and circled him. Somehow, before they could ask him to surrender, he recognized them. He suddenly turned in his bar stool and lunged at the officers. "You bastards," he yelled as he whipped out his pistol, finger on the trigger. A burst of fire injured 3 people, according to police. Others ducked for cover. But Wakenyonga was a wee bit too slow. His proverbial 40 days were over. Police bumped a bullet into his body and he breathed his last. The press happily carried pictures of his bullet-riddled body. There were claims that the killer shot came from Shaw's pistol. Police found the grave he had dug in his home a few yards away, and there Wakenyonga was laid. That is one story of the greatest when it comes to crimes in this country. Wakenyonga was the pioneer, and allow me to say, the godfather of organized crime in Kenya. Began his career in the streets of Nairobi as a small boy stealing small things here and there, but ended up becoming the kingpin and the greatest boss when it comes to organized crime. But one thing seeds out and one thing finds its way out of the life of Wakenyonga. Nicholas Mwea Wakenyonga was not your ordinary criminal. He was a man, when he steals, he would share his loot to his people. If you knew Wakenyonga then, you would have enjoyed his riches, because once he stole money, he would share it with the people. But one thing also stood out in Wakenyonga's life. When we speak about people like Washosho, Wanogo, and Maderi, these are the greatest the 3 musketeers known by the Kenyan law enforcers, that they disturbed the peace of this country in the year 1990s, but they were all gunned down. These people, when they stole, also Shimoli being among them, Edward Muigai Shimoli, known as the Jackal, the man who escaped Kamiti maximum prison 4 times. These criminals, when they stole money, their happiness and how they spent money was on prostitutes, on drinks, on friends, and yeah, they would go on spree, spending out money without any other plan. But when it came to Wakenyonga left while he had built flats, apartments for his people, for his family. So even after his death, his family still owns the property in Kangemi where Wakenyonga had built his flat through the loot that he had stolen. That's one thing about this man. Even though he is referred to as Robin Hood, he had some characters of Robin Hood, but also had some characters which were good for himself. But he knew, you know what? I live by the gun and I die by it. So Wakenyonga, being the godfather of organized crime in Kenya, decided, you know what? I chose this life and I know this is the way out. I will go out this way. Another thing that stands out in Wakenyonga's life, when you look at the people that Wakenyonga killed, you can only name one. Yeah, robbery with violence, he did all that. He never went ahead to intimidate women as other criminals did. He never went ahead to kill people anyhowly as criminals like Washosho, Maderi, Shimoli, and Rasta did. He never did that. He was, he respected his criminal activities. He respected his hustle. You know what? I don't have to hurt people. Once I threatened them and they had over the money to me, I'm good, I should go, I should stay out of it. You know, and that's how Wakinyonga survived for so long until he was taken out in the year 1978, while as somebody, a police informer, snitched on him while he was having a drink in a bar in Kangemi. That's what's up in regards to the life of the godfather of organized crime in Kenya, Nicholas Mwea Wakinyonga. Hii ni FM Show KE, and the show on air is none other than the drums of history. My name is FK Mwenda. Make sure you subscribe.